Peace, everyone. Welcome back to Giganomics. And I got a question from one of the subscribers I thought deserved an entire video. And he asked, Corey, do you have a video explaining how to put your vehicle under your LLC? I'm purchasing an SUV for my medical courier business, and I'm curious how that process works. And honestly, that's a great question, because this is one of those topics that can confuse a lot of people when they first get started. Most people hear LLC and immediately assume everything needs to be moved into the company name, the vehicle, the insurance, and the registration, everything. But before we talk about whether you should do it, let's answer the actual question. How do you put a vehicle under your LLC? There's generally two ways people do it. The first is purchasing the vehicle directly through the business. The LLC becomes the buyer, the vehicle will get titled under the LLC name, and the registration is issued to the LLC. The insurance also is written based on how the vehicle will be used. Now, if you financing the vehicle, the lender has to approve the purchase under the business structure, and this is where many people hit their first surprise. A brand new LLC with no business credit, no revenue history, and no operating history may still require a personal guarantee. In plain English, the bank is still looking at you, not just the company. So don't assume the LLC automatically gets approved for financing by itself. The second is transferring the vehicle you already own into the LLC. You bought an SUV because you needed more room 3 years ago. Maybe you've been using your personal vehicle for your medical carrier business, but at some point you may decide you want the company to own the vehicle instead. That's usually handled through your state DMV. The title get transferred from your personal name to the LLC, the registration get updated, and your insurance company may need to update the policy as well. The exact process, the paperwork and fees depends on your state. And this is why I'm telling you, always check directly with your state DMV and your accountant if you have one before making any changes. Now, here's how people get distracted. They spend months worrying about ownership before they earn their first dollar. They research title transfer, business credit, tax deduction, and they still don't have a single contract. Meanwhile, somebody else bought an SUV, got it insured properly, landed a pharmacy route, and started generating revenue. Revenue create options. No revenue creates stress. This is why I tell people to first understand why you're moving the vehicle into the LLC in the first place. Are you trying to build business credit? Are you trying to separate business and personal finances? Are you planning to add additional vehicles later? Are you planning on hiring drivers? Or are you just trying to simplify bookkeeping? Those answers matter because they changes the strategy. Now let's talk about insurance, because this is where things get really important. Insurance companies don't care nearly as much about your LLC as they care about risk. They're going to ask you things like who's driving, how often is the vehicle being used, what type of deliveries are being performed, what areas are being serviced, are you doing pharmacy deliveries, medical carrier work, specimen transport, senior services, or local deliveries. Commercial activity creates a different risk profile than personal use, and that's why it's important to have the insurance conversation before you start operating. The ownership conversation is important, but the insurance conversation is critical. One thing I don't want people to misunderstand is putting that vehicle under LLC doesn't magically turn it into a business asset. The paperwork has to match, from the title to the registration, from the insurance down to bookkeeping. Everything must align. A lot of people assume that because they formed the LLC online, everything they own automatically belongs to the company. That's not how it works. Now, if I was starting a medical carrier business today with a single SUV, I would focus on keeping things simple. Get the vehicle, get it insured, get your business bank account, get your booking system, get your contracts, get your customers, and start generating revenue. And then make structural decisions based on where the business is actually going, because the business making money has more options than a business still stuck in the planning phase. Five benefits of putting the vehicle under your LLC. 1. Cleaner separation between personal and business. This is probably the biggest advantage. Instead of your business paying expenses on a personally owned vehicle, the business owns the asset. Your bookkeeping becomes cleaner because payments, insurance, maintenance, and operating expenses are all associated with the business. That's especially helpful if you plan to grow. 2. Easier to add more vehicles. If your goal is eventually having 3, 5, or 10 vehicles, it's much easier when the business owns them. Instead of trying to manage multiple personally owned vehicles, you're now building a fleet instead of just owning a car. 3. Better presentations to banks and lenders. If your business has been operating for a while and it started generating business credit, lenders may eventually view the business as the borrower instead of relying entirely on your personal finances. This usually doesn't happen on day one, but it's a long-term benefit for growing companies. 4, simpler when hiring drivers. Let's say a year from now, you hire your first driver. It's much cleaner when the vehicle belongs to the company. The insurance is written for the company and the driver is operating a company-owned vehicle. 5, cleaner accounting. When tax season comes around, the accountant isn't trying to separate personal driving from business assets. Everything's already sitting inside the business records. Let's talk about the other side. Number 1, financing can still be harder. A brand new LLC with no business history won't qualify on its own. Many lenders still require your personal credit and a personal guarantee. So people think they buying through the LLC, but they still personally guaranteeing the loan. Number 2, insurance costs may go up. Depending on your state, the vehicle, and business use, commercial policies may cost more than personal policies. That's why you should compare quotes before assuming one option is cheaper. 3, more paperwork. Now you're dealing with business registration, titles, vehicle registration, commercial insurance, and business bookkeeping. It's not overwhelming, but it's another layer of administration. 4, selling the vehicle later. If the LLC owns the vehicle, the business, not you personally, is selling it. That can have accounting and tax implications, so it's something to think about as part of your overall business planning. The biggest benefit isn't the title, it's the mindset. When people start buying equipment, vehicles, software, and systems through the business, they stop thinking like someone doing deliveries and start thinking like someone building a company. That's a mental shift. Now you asking questions like, how do I add another vehicle? How do I hire a driver? How do I build business credit? And how do I qualify for larger contracts? That's completely different from asking, how many deliveries do I have to do today? At the end of the day, there isn't one perfect answer. Some people keep vehicles personally owned, some people buy directly through the LLC, and some people transfer them later. The right answer depends on your goals, your financing situation, your insurance requirements, and how you plan to grow. But hopefully, now you understand the how and the why. If you purchased a vehicle through your LLC, drop a comment below and let everyone know what vehicle you bought and how you structured it. And if you're still shopping for a vehicle, tell me what you're looking at. SUV, minivan, cargo van. I love to hear it. And until next time, y'all stay safe, stay blessed, get to your hustle. Peace.